So before we get into this video, if you guys want to check out my feature film Passadilla, you can. It's on Amazon right now. You can also get the Blu-ray. Check out my link tree down below for all my social medias, my short films, my letterboxd, all that good stuff. We're going to be talking about The Monkey. Now, the interesting thing about The Monkey is I heard the test screenings and people were saying that it was awful and all this stuff. And I'm not going to lie, admittedly, I kind of believed it a little bit because I wasn't so sure, especially following up Longlegs with something like The Monkey and it being Osgood Perkins, which I really do enjoy him as a director. I wasn't really the biggest fan of Hansel and Gretel, but The Pretty Little Thing That Lives in the House was great. Longlegs was great. The Blackcoat's Daughter is great. And when it came to The Monkey, I was like, I don't know. Let's see what this is about. Because when I heard it was a mixture between Final Destination and like a Stephen King story, I was a little bit intrigued. Well, let me just tell you. The Monkey was everything that I wanted it to be and more. I would even go as far as saying, just going to say it, I think it's Osgood Perkins' best film, in my opinion. It's my favorite film that he's done. And I'll sort of explain to you in a second. I might have a little bit of bias here. But the film stars Theo James. He plays two characters. And essentially, it's a short film from Stephen King, or a short story from Stephen King. Based upon a short story, and it's directed by Osgood Perkins. Now, when you put all of that together, it's a pretty interesting package. It is, and I've actually read the short story, The Monkey, from Stephen King, and this film definitely strays far from it, like pretty far, but I think that's for the best. Now, when it comes to Longlegs, if you enjoyed Longlegs and the way that this film is being marketed, which I'm so glad they're not pushing it too heavy, like, oh, okay, well, this is from the director of Longlegs. They definitely are pushing it as it's the Stephen King adaptation, which you probably should because people love Stephen King. I mean, he's a massive force. There's no doubt about it. But it is very much so tonally different than Longlegs. I mean, it is a massive shift in tone. One of my buddies that I was sitting next to said it was very zany, and it's very true. I mean, it's a very outrageous film. Now, when it comes to the new Final Destination movie, this film actually did kind of get me excited about the new Final Destination movie. I think the only downside is that whoever made the new Final Destination movie didn't get a chance to see The Monkey to base the kills off of that, because the kills in The Monkey are nuts. So whatever Final Destination, which I'm not trying to compare the two, but there has to be a certain comparison there. But whatever Final Destination does, oh my gosh, we will see, because The Monkey is gruesome. This film, I think, pushes the boundaries of what can be shown in a theater in terms of gore, which I don't think there's necessarily a boundary. I mean, of course, there's Terrifier, which I think has pushed every boundary that we can possibly think of. But the way that this one is executed, it's more so like shock value. There's a specific scene, which I don't want to spoil it, but Osgood Perkins has a cameo in it. And it's just funny the way that it goes about it. But this film is gnarly. I mean, the way that people die, you just can't even expect the way that people die. Like, you think something's going to happen, and you're like, oh, okay, wow, this is going to happen, and then it happens, and you're like, oh, wow, I did not expect it to go that way. The trailer did not spoil a lot of the kills. I know some people are worried that the trailer spoiled a lot of stuff. It really doesn't. Trust me, when you watch the film, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. It goes places, and I really enjoyed it. I think the one thing that people might be thrown off about a little bit is towards the ending. It gets a little bit kind of, bat crazy. It's very, how do I say this? How do I say this without cussing? Because I'm monetized. It's bat crazy. That's all I'm going to say. It went a direction that I was not expecting. It might throw a few people off because it kind of does take... It's a very comedic film, and it has a lot of, I'm not even going to say comedic undertones. I do think that this is a horror comedy through and through, because it's one of the funniest films I've seen. Well, I don't want to say this year, but I would probably say in the last 2 years, just because, the year just started. But it goes a direction where it kind of is just balls to the wall. And when it gets to the ending, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a moment in it that kind of took me off guard, because I was like, what does that mean? Like, what were they going for with this? And if you know what I'm talking, like, you'll see whenever you get there. It's basically like the final. I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, if you guys had any reservations about The Monkey, no, go see this film. Go see it with a crowd. I guarantee you, if you're lucky enough to see this with a crowd, you're going to have a good time. For me, I saw an early showing, but there wasn't a lot of people in the theater. There were a few laughs and stuff, but I am almost tempted to find a showing and just see it with like the biggest crowd ever. Like, I just want to go through and see what seats are booked and just sort of like just sit there with the crowd and watch the reactions, because this is a great film. And I want to explain something. Why that this might be my favorite Osgood Perkins film, because I really do love The Black Coat's Daughter. But what The Monkey did for me was it provided escapism. Like, it was one of those films where I was just very pleased with everything that happened in it. Like, I was very happy with, the outcomes of the characters, the dialogue, just the themes of it, which, I mean, there are themes there if you look. I'm pretty sure there were some things that I caught on to, and it was just a nice way to escape the real world. Like, you don't get that too often when you watch a film. Like, a lot of the times when you watch a film, you are kind of reminded of what's going on around you. It's a time we live in, and a lot of films do get that way, which there's nothing wrong with, because, I mean, if you love film, I mean, it's something that you deal with. But when it comes to The Monkey, it was just crazy. It was a lot of fun. It reminded me of something that I would probably have loved to watch whenever I was little, and I think Osgood Perkins did it justice. The dude should be very proud. I think that he is an amazing director. He's a very playful director. That's one thing I've noticed about Osgood Perkins, is he's very playful, and I really like that about him. I cannot wait to see what he does with his next film, Keeper or The Keeper. I really hope that he continues on with the style that he does, because he does have this very specific style. Like, I will say, probably Hansel and Gretel, Longlegs, and The Monkey more so than Black Coat's Daughter or Pretty Little Thing That Lives in the House. But that's what happens with the directors. Their style shift as they go on, and that's fine. But, like, I don't know. I just can't explain it. I loved everything about The Monkey. It was just such a good time. But anyway, guys, I'm not going to ramble any longer. Let me know what you thought of The Monkey down in the comments below. If you guys, well, I keep forgetting it doesn't come out until like next week or whatever. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the film. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time.